Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us today for our statewide conference. This is the second year that we have held a statewide conference focused on equity. This year, our theme is Equity in Action, Strengthening, Teaching, Leading, and Learning in Unprecedented Times. And I'm sure all of you can agree that we are in some very unprecedented times. I'm Tanya Breland. I'm the Director for the Office of Professional Learning at the New Jersey Department of Education. I am also an equity advocate and an equity leader, and I am pleased to be your host for our Unconference experience today. So thank you so much for being a part of our day. And before we get started, I'd like to encourage you to use your social media and to tweet throughout the day. Feel free to take pictures throughout the day and to share reflections and what you've learned and have experienced and ideas that you've learned and or would like to share using the hashtag Equity in Action. We're using the hashtag Equity in Action throughout the day. So we would love to see your tweets. We're going to try to retweet your tweets as you go throughout the day. We're excited because this year we have over 1,300 people who have registered for today's conference, which I have to say is pretty impressive considering it's the middle of the summer. You could be doing anything else. You could be sitting at the beach somewhere or enjoying a ride through your community, whatever. But we're glad that you're here with us and that we want you to get ready to learn, to get ready to share, to get ready to dive into conversations that are going to lead to change for our students throughout the state of New Jersey. I do want to thank a few people before we move on. I want to thank, and you're going to hear from some of these people, but I'd like to thank our governor, Phil Murphy. I'd like to thank our former commissioner, Lamont Repollet. He was the one who had the vision to do a conference related to equity. I also want to thank our interim commissioner, Kevin Damer, our chief of staff, Kelly Ledette, our president for the State Board of Education, Kathy Goldenberg. I want to thank the superintendent of Long Branch School District. If it weren't for Long Branch, we wouldn't be here today either because they have partnered with us to help make today a possibility and a reality. So I want to thank Dr. Michael Salvatore. I also want to thank the leaders of our equity-based PLCs, professional learning communities. Those are our three education partners, our university partners who work throughout the school year with districts in their region. So I want to thank Dr. Gail Verdi from Kane University. I want to thank Dr. Donald Leake from TCNJ. I want to thank Dr. Adan Alvarez from Rowan University. And we can't wait to hear what you're going to share today during our unconference sessions. They're actually going to share some of the work that they've been doing in their various regions. And I think you might be interested in learning more about some of that work that they've been doing that you could take back to your districts. I really want to thank my office, the Office of Professional Learning. We are a small and mighty team, but that team has worked tirelessly over the last several months to prepare today for you. And so I want to thank Pete, Dr. Pete Mazzagatti. I want to thank Nancy Basant. I want to thank Sue Pankos. I also want to thank Jill Rogers and Kimberly Dickstein Hughes, and I'm going to come back to Kimberly in a moment, and our honorary member, Liz Walsh. She's not a part of our team, but she has jumped in and helped out with so many special pieces to make today a reality. So thank you again, Liz. I want to thank our communications team who has worked tirelessly behind the scenes, trying to make sure that everything worked out here for us to pull this off today. And I want to thank every single educator throughout the state of New Jersey who is going to join us today as your facilitators and presenters. These educators are people just like you and me who are going to share ideas and are going to lead conversations about what could be some difficult topics. But I'm really grateful that they're here. I think that you're going to learn a lot. I think you are going to meet some new people as you go throughout your day. And I want to thank the NJDOE proctors and any other volunteer that helped to make today a reality. But I said I was going to come back to Kimberly Dickstein Hughes because she is our state teacher of the year. And she's worked with us throughout the year. And she has a very special treat for you at the end of this conference. So we're setting it up because I can't wait for you to see what she has prepared to share with you at the end of the day. It is something that you are going to value, greatly value. and you are going to appreciate. And I just make sure that you stay with us and that you come back at the end of the day at 2 o'clock to hear Kimberly's presentation. It is phenomenal. I am not exaggerating. I also am very excited because this is the second time that we've done this conference. And this year we had to pivot from a live event. Last year we were able to come together for the first time at TC&J with over 1,000 educators from around the state of New Jersey who convened to talk about equity for all. And so I want to take a moment to allow you to see some highlights from last year's Equity for All conference.
You have to go to the restroom, okay? And for the guys who go to these public events and you go to the restroom, it's one way you experience that whole process, right? But for women, it's something very different, is it not? So the question I ask, is this equality or is this equity?
Hello, and welcome everyone. I hope that today's Equity in Action Unconference will be an enlightening day for you, filled with collaboration and conversation. But I also hope that by the end of today's event, you'll feel confident to navigate the challenging road ahead. The New Jersey Department of Education is in awe of your commitment to our students. Over 1,200 educators and educational leaders signed up for our Unconference. And while those numbers are impressive, they also speak to the magnitude of our responsibility to continue educating ourselves if we hope to successfully and equitably educate others. As you engage with the facilitators and peers in your different workshops today, I hope that you'll ask yourself, how can I learn from this person? Your participation in this work is important, and we are grateful to everyone who has aligned themselves to our mission of equitably meeting the needs of all our students. Thank you and enjoy your day.
Hello, New Jersey educators. It is such an honor to be part of this day, a day which I know will be filled with important conversations and strategic planning about how to best educate our students during these unprecedented times. I've watched educators in New Jersey do a seemingly impossible task. You have continued to inspire and educate our students, even when some of the questions they needed responses to were impossible to answer. I hope that today will set you on a path to being able to reply to more of those tough questions. I hope that you will be able to leave here today feeling empowered to make changes in your districts, your schools, and classrooms that will positively and equitably affect every single one of your students. Last year, the Equity for All Conference laid the foundation for us to share and lead in conversations surrounding equity. But this year, we are taking what we learned here and what we learned last year and implementing it into our daily practice. I am so proud of New Jersey's educators for taking on this challenge. I know our students will benefit from all of your hard work. Thank you so much.
Welcome, New Jersey educators. We are so proud to host you all today as we navigate how to be the best leaders for our school communities. The past year has challenged all of us, and one of our biggest challenges brought to light by the civil rights, health, and social injustice issues that we are facing today is how to equitably educate all our students during these unprecedented times. Today, you will probably have some very tough questions and conversations, but we hope you will make an effort to really listen and learn from your peers and take away some of the crucial tools you'll need to facilitate similar types of conversations with your coworkers and students as we strive to build a more culturally responsible educator workforce here in New Jersey. Thank you all for showing up, not just for yourselves, but for your entire educational community. Have a great day.
Hello, New Jersey educators. Governor Phil Murphy here. I want to welcome all of you to the Equity in Action Unconference. You've heard me say this many times before, but it bears repeating. New Jersey's public school system is one of, if not the best in the nation. This is in large part due to the incredible educators who have shown an unwavering commitment to New Jersey students through every moment of these unprecedented times. Over the past few months, we have witnessed COVID-19 expose and exacerbate the racial and economic inequities that have long existed within our educational system. From a digital divide that has kept many of our students from vital technological resources to food insecurities in some of our most vulnerable communities, we see where the work to remove systemic racial and socioeconomic barriers needs to be done. Our effort to close these divides and rid ourselves of these inequities will not be simple or easy, but I have the faith that the work you are doing today will greatly influence and encourage the social justice movement that is rapidly growing across our state and nation. New Jersey's educators have long been a point of pride for our state, and your promise to continue fighting for equitable spaces where every student has the same opportunities to learn and grow proves that what you teach our children goes far beyond academics. Thank you for working to make New Jersey a stronger and fairer place for all. Thank you all, and God bless you all.
What a treat to be able to hear from such distinguished guests. Thank each and every one of you for your heartfelt words and for the encouragement in the work that we have lying ahead. I couldn't agree more with what we just heard. We do have some really dedicated educators throughout the state of New Jersey. The fact that you were able to quickly transition from working in your classroom to working from home so that all of our students could be educated in the time of a pandemic, something that none of us have ever experienced in our lives, is nothing short of amazing. I'll tell you, this has been a really difficult year. 2020 is nothing like we imagined. But just think about January. When we started this year out, most of us were filled with excitement. Most of us were filled with hope. We had a lot of dreams for what we wanted to see happen in the year 2020. And I'm sure that when March hit and we realized the reality of our circumstances, I'm sure like many of you, many of you started to worry and be concerned, because we realized that with this pandemic, there were going to be students who were going to have difficulty accessing what we needed to give them as educators. And yet you've risen to the occasion. Your commitment and your dedication to the students of New Jersey has really made a difference in how we've been able to educate. But it's also shown us a few things. It's shown us where some of those inequities were. And it's put a spotlight on those inequities. And I'm sure most of you, because you're here today, decided that as educators, we can do amazing work. I mean, we've had a really difficult time. Not only did we face a pandemic, but our country has been at a state of unrest. We've had some social issues, some race issues that have also brought to light a lot of the inequities that have existed in our school districts for years, but perhaps we may have turned a blind eye to it, or we may not have been aware of it. But now we see, our eyes have been opened to see some of the challenges that lie ahead. We don't know exactly what the future holds, but we do know that we have a moral imperative to address the inequities that have not only come to light, but that have existed in schools for decades and years and years and years beyond that. That means that we have to prioritize equity in the policies, in the practices, in the programming that we have for our students, that we have to provide supports and resources to prepare students for their futures, that we have to promote the values of diversity, equity, and inclusion so that all students feel like they belong in the environment that they are. We need to think about how we hire. Are we diversifying our staff so that it reflects the student body in the state of New Jersey? Some of you have attended convenings in the past. I just wanted to just point out one convening that we have coming up that will be spread out throughout the month of October every Wednesday from 3 to 5. So save the date. It's a conference related to diversifying the teacher workforce, and we would love for you to be a part of that. When I think about equity, I think about the lens that I make decisions, the lens that I use when reviewing policy, the lens that I use when planning programming that will benefit students in the state of New Jersey. And I'm thinking about all students. I'm thinking about students who may not look like me, students who do look like me, Black and brown students. I'm thinking about students whose socioeconomic class may be different from mine or maybe similar to mine. I'm thinking about students and their gender identity, their sexuality, their mental and physical ability. I'm thinking about students from diverse religious backgrounds who speak multiple languages or who have other ways that they identify themselves or come from backgrounds that may not be familiar to us. I'm thinking about all of those kids when I think about equity. I'm thinking about, are there barriers that we put in front of students that make it difficult for them to be successful? Do we have things in our policies that make it difficult for students to be able to have access to all that students should have access to? Our students want something from us. They have shared with us that they're counting on us to give them respect. They're counting on us to meet them where they are, wherever that is. They want us to give them space to grow and to give them a voice to share their experiences. They want us to be fair in how we make decisions. They want us to be fair in the resources that we provide to them. They want all students to be given high expectations by their teachers. They want educators to be open and honest and not afraid to have dialogue about difficult conversations. Conversations about race, conversations about gender and equality. Our students are looking for us to address their mental health, their social emotional needs, and any other need they might have. They want us to create spaces for them to have their voices be heard and to provide them with a platform to grow. They want us to see their identities represented in the curriculum, represented in the materials, and the classroom instruction that we provide to them. Because when we don't give them that, when we don't see their identities, we don't see them. Students want us to teach accurate history about our country. Students have said, History about culture and race is American history, and they want to learn about that. Students want us to amplify their voices so that they can be heard, and that we move towards a system of anti-racists. They want educators who believe in anti-racism and practice that in their classrooms. They want us to increase communication between students and educators. They want us to no longer tolerate discriminatory practices, and they can tell you more about those discriminatory practices if you ask them. They want us to provide them with more resources for English language learners. They want resources for students who are LGBTQIA+. They're looking for differentiated instruction to meet their varying learning needs. They want to be taught life skills and to prepare them for their futures. They want to be mentored by us. They want political literacy, where we help our students understand their rights. They want us to dismantle the stereotypes that still permeate some of our districts and schools and classrooms. They want us to create policies that are fair and that do not discriminate against any group of students. They want a sense of community in all of their schools and all of their classrooms, whether it's hybrid or remote or in person. They want us to be adaptable in our school culture. They want programs that emphasize collaboration for all students. They want opportunities to connect with programs within their communities. They want us to strengthen their identities. They want us to push students to be the best versions of themselves. They want high-quality teachers. They want better facilities, better school buildings, better classrooms. They're looking for us to hire more teachers of color, more male teachers of color. They're looking for role models that look like them. Students are asking us to push them to be leaders, to push students of color to be leaders, to push students with disabilities to be leaders. They want us to be culturally relevant in our educating them. Students are looking for us to allow for those difficult conversations to take place throughout the school year, not just during the time of a crisis, but throughout the school year, because they deal with and they're thinking about these issues. They want educators who are well-read, who are going to do the work to learn more about them as students. They want educators who are going to provide some opportunities for autonomy and leadership and growth in the type of classroom assignments that they're given. They want to feel welcomed and to feel like they are valued and like they belong. And isn't that what most of us want? Don't most of us want to feel valued and like we belong? We are here as individuals, as diverse groups of individuals, to make a difference in the lives of the students that walk through our classroom doors, the students who come through our school districts and through our schools, who are living in our communities. We want all of them to feel like they are a part of a system that sees them, a system that believes in them. This is the year that we take equity and put it into action. We can't just think of equity as a buzzword anymore. We've used it over and over again for years. And we're like, if we do things equitable, but what does that really mean? What does that mean for the work that you are doing every single day when you get up and go to work? What does that mean for the students that you see every single day? Can all students speak to how equitable you are as an educator? These are some of the things that I want you to think about. These are some of the things that I want you to have dialogue about. We have some diverse topics today. We're really thrilled that educators like you have decided they were going to lead some difficult conversations in an unconference session. So this is not a day where you're going to sit and just listen and let the knowledge be poured into you. This is a day that we want you to engage. We want you to engage in dialogue, engage in conversation, engage in asking questions, and engage in reflection. Reflect on your own biases. Reflect on your own practices. Reflect on your own areas of blind spots and discrimination. Sometimes we think that we've got this all together, but every single one of us have areas that we can grow. And I want you today to spend the time talking to colleagues from all over the state of New Jersey who, just like you, want to learn and want to grow and want to provide students with all of those things that I listed. Every child deserves the absolute best from their educational experiences. And today is an opportunity for us to learn how we can provide those students with the experiences that they deserve. I'm glad that you're with us. I'm glad you decided that this was a day that you're going to spend to be able to create an equitable schooling experience for all the students that you come in contact with throughout the school year. I want to wish you a day of learning and enjoyment. Again, I remind you, our hashtag is Equity in Action. So share that learning with us throughout the day. Share some ideas with us throughout the day. We'd love to retweet what you're doing. And then we want you to come back to us at the end of the day at 2 o'clock. After you've gone through all of your various sessions, we want you to come back to us and to hear from our State Teacher of the Year, Kimberly Dickstein Hughes. She has something that you are going to enjoy. And I know that you're going to enjoy the day. Thank you again for being with us. Thank you again for deciding to share this summer day with us. We can't wait to hear more about what you learn throughout the day. Enjoy this message from Dr. Michael Salvatore.
Hello, New Jersey. I'm Mike Salvatore, Superintendent of Schools in Long Branch, New Jersey. And this year, we are happy to serve as a co-host with the New Jersey Department of Education for the annual Equity Conference. You know, this conference probably more important now than ever. Conversations about equity in our schools are extremely important. And let's face it, how many courses have you had about challenging equitable practices? How many courageous conversations about race and equity have you been taught to conduct and host and facilitate? You see, many of us are not adequately prepared to face the environment we're in. But today's conference gives us an opportunity to learn and to engage so that we're better prepared, not just for our staff, for our children who so deserve it. So today, my goal is simply to navigate you through the housekeeping of our wonderful digital brochure, which you'll find linked in the bio below. So if you've made it here, you've succeeded. And we will have another session for YouTube Live later this afternoon. So today's session, all you have to do to engage is take a look at the digital brochure. Find something that works for you, something that's going to challenge you, stretch your thinking, and maybe make you feel a little bit uncomfortable. That's okay, especially in this learning space. So you're going to walk through the 3 rounds of Zoom lessons. If you find you're in a session and it's not meeting your needs, it's okay to bail out. We have the rule of our own 2 feet. It's kind of like an unconference, except we're doing it all digitally. So as you go through the day, you'll see in the brochure, you can navigate through dozens of professional workshops. After selecting each round, please stick around for New Jersey State Teacher of the Year, Kimberly Dickstein. She has a really important message to close out our conference, and that'll be a YouTube Live session. So the audience is uncapped. You can invite your friends and family to check her out too. So just take a look at our brochure, take your time, take a look at the topics, and find what's right for you. Enjoy learning with us today, New Jersey. Thank you.